When my daughter looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Stop interfering in my life. I'm an adult now," I felt something inside my chest crack. Not break, like ice on a frozen lake. You know that sound? That warning sound before everything falls through? That was the sound my heart made. I didn't know, I couldn't have known, that exactly 1 year later I would be standing in a hospital hallway at 3 in the morning, and a doctor would walk toward me with a look on his face that I will never ever forget. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I tell you what happened in that hospital, before I tell you about the phone call that changed everything, before I tell you about the secret my daughter had been keeping for 11 months, I need to take you back to the beginning, to the Sunday dinner that destroyed my family. And friend, if you're watching this right now, whether you're in Texas or Florida or California or anywhere else in this beautiful country, I need you to do something for me. Drop a comment right now telling me where you're watching from. And if you have a daughter, or a son, or any child who's ever said words that cut you like a knife, type, "I understand" in the comments. Because this story is for you. Let me tell you about my daughter. I'm not going to use her real name. I'm going to call her my girl, or my daughter, throughout this story, because she deserves that privacy. But I need you to picture her. 23 years old. Smart. So smart it sometimes scared me. She graduated top of her class. Got accepted into law school. Had a future so bright I used to joke that I needed sunglasses just to look at her. And she had my late wife's eyes. My wife passed away when my daughter was 16. Cancer. The kind that comes fast and leaves nothing but memories and photographs and a hole in your life so big you can't ever fill it. After my wife died, it was just me and my girl. 7 years. Just the two of us against the world. I thought we were close. I thought we told each other everything. I was wrong. It was a Sunday in September. I remember because the leaves were just starting to turn and my wife had always loved fall. My daughter came over for dinner. She still lived about 20 minutes away. She'd gotten her own apartment after college, which I supported. I wanted her to be independent. I wanted her to grow. But I also wanted her close. Is that so wrong? She walked through my front door that Sunday and I knew immediately something was different. She was wearing a new dress. Expensive. The kind she couldn't afford on her part-time job at the library. And she was wearing perfume I didn't recognize. Fancy perfume. The kind that comes in those little bottles that cost more than my monthly grocery bill. "You look nice," I said. She didn't answer. She just smiled this tight little smile and sat down at the kitchen table. I had made her favorite pot roast with potatoes and carrots, the same recipe her mother used to make. She barely touched it. "Not hungry?" I asked. "I ate earlier," she said. "With who?" That's when she looked up at me. And I saw something in her eyes I had never seen before. Defiance. No, that's not the right word. It was more like distance. Like she was already somewhere else. Like she was already gone. "Dad," she said, "I need to tell you something." Now friend, I want you to pause for a second. I want you to think about a moment in your life when someone you loved said those words. "I need to tell you something." Your stomach drops, doesn't it? Your mind races through every possibility. Every worst-case scenario. If you've ever felt that fear, that parent fear, hit the like button right now. Because you know exactly what I was feeling in that moment. "I'm seeing someone," my daughter said. I felt relief wash over me. That's all. He was dating someone. I could handle that. "That's great, sweetheart," I said. "When do I get to meet him?" She didn't answer. "Or her," I added quickly. "I don't care who you love. You know that. I just want you happy." Still nothing. Just that tight smile. That distance in her eyes. "His name is Victor," she finally said. "And he's different." "Different how?" "He's older." I felt my stomach tighten again. "How much older?" Silence. "How much older?" I repeated. "He's 52. I dropped my fork. It clattered against the plate, loud in the sudden silence of my kitchen. 52. This man was 52 years old. I was 58. This man was only 6 years younger than me. "Dad," she started. "He's my age," I said. "This man is basically my age." "He's not basically your age. He's 52. You're 58. That's 6 years difference. And he's 29 years older than you. So. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You're 23. You're a child." That's when her eyes went cold. Ice cold. I'm not a child, she said. I'm an adult. I'm 23 years old. I'm a legal adult who makes her own decisions. Legal doesn't mean smart, I said. And I watched her face change. I watched something close behind her eyes. I watched myself lose her in real time. What happened next is something I'm not proud of. I'm sharing it with you because I promised to be honest. And because I think a lot of parents watching this might have done the same thing. I started asking questions. Lots of questions. Where did you meet him? What does he do for work? Does he have kids? Has he been married before? Why is a 52-year-old man interested in a 23-year-old? Each question made her angrier. And angrier. And angrier. Until finally she pushed back from the table and stood up. This is exactly why I didn't want to tell you, she said. I knew you would do this. I knew you would interrogate me like I'm some kind of criminal. I'm not interrogating you. I'm asking basic questions about the man who is dating my daughter. No, she said. You're judging. You're always judging. You've been doing it since Mom died. That hit me like a punch to the chest. That's not fair, I said. None of this is fair. Her voice was rising now. I finally find someone who makes me happy. Someone who treats me like a queen, and you can't just be happy for me? A queen. I repeated. Is that what he told you? That he treats you like a queen? Yes. Because he does. With what? Fancy dresses? Expensive perfume. She looked down at her dress. Her face flushed red. He bought you that dress, I said. It wasn't a question. So what if he did? So what if... I stopped. Took a breath. Tried to calm down. Sweetheart, listen to me. When a man almost 30 years older buys you expensive things, when he showers you with gifts, that's not love. That's what, she interrupted. Say it. Say what you really think. I should have stopped. I should have taken a breath. I should have remembered that she was still my little girl even if she didn't feel like it anymore. But I didn't stop. That's manipulation, I said. That's control. Men like that, they find young women, they shower them with gifts, they make them dependent, and then... Stop. She screamed it so loud my ears rang. The silence that followed was the loudest silence I've ever heard. My daughter had never raised her voice to me like that. Not once in 23 years. Stop interfering in my life, she shouted. I'm an adult now. I get to make my own choices. I get to love who I want to love. And if you can't accept that, if you can't accept Victor, then maybe you shouldn't be part of my life anymore. The silence that followed was the loudest silence I've ever heard. Now I need to stop here for a moment. Because I know some of you watching are nodding your heads. You're saying, he's right. The father is right. This is suspicious. And I know some of you are shaking your heads. You're saying, she's an adult. He needs to let her make her own mistakes. I want to know what you think. Type father was right, or let her live in the comments below. Because here's the thing, I've thought about this moment every single day for the past year. And I still don't know if I handled it correctly. Maybe I was right about Victor. Maybe I was wrong. But what I do know is this, what I said next, those were the words that broke everything. If you walk out that door, I said, don't bother coming back. I didn't mean it. I swear to you I didn't mean it. It was fear talking. It was desperation. It was the terror of watching my only child, the last piece of my wife I had left, walk into something I couldn't protect her from. But she didn't know I didn't mean it. All she heard were the words. She grabbed her purse. She walked to the front door. And just before she walked out, she turned back to look at me. Her eyes were wet. But she wasn't crying. She wouldn't give me the satisfaction of seeing her cry. Goodbye, Dad, she said. And she was gone. For the first week I told myself she would call. She was angry, sure. But she would calm down. She would realize I was just trying to protect her. She would call and we would talk and everything would go back to normal. She didn't call. For the second week I told myself I should be the bigger person. I should reach out first. I should apologize. But every time I picked up the phone I remembered what she said. If you can't accept Victor, maybe you shouldn't be part of my life. How could I accept someone I had never even met? Someone who was buying my 23-year-old daughter expensive gifts? Someone who was old enough to be her father? I couldn't. So I didn't call. By the third week, the silence had become a wall. A wall so thick neither of us knew how to break through it. I started doing things I'm not proud of. I drove past her apartment. Not often. Just, sometimes. I wanted to see if her car was there. I wanted to see if she was okay. One night I saw a car parked next to hers. A Mercedes. But, expensive. And I knew in my gut, that it was his. Victor's. I sat in my car across the street for almost an hour watching that Mercedes. Imagining what was happening inside my daughter's apartment. Imagining this 52-year-old man with my little girl. I felt sick. I felt angry. I felt helpless. And for the first time since my wife died, I felt completely and totally alone. The weeks turned into months. September became October. October became November. Thanksgiving was approaching. For 7 years, ever since my wife died, my daughter and I had spent Thanksgiving together. Just the two of us. We would make too much food. We would watch old movies. We would talk about her mother and cry a little and laugh a lot. It was our tradition. It was sacred. I waited for her to call. He didn't. So finally, 3 days before Thanksgiving, I swallowed my pride and picked up the phone. I called her number. Once, twice, 3 times. Then, the number you are trying to reach has been disconnected. Disconnected. She had changed her number. My daughter had changed her phone number so I couldn't reach her. I'm not ashamed to tell you that I cried that night. I sat in my living room in the dark, and I cried like I hadn't cried since my wife's funeral. I had lost her. I had lost my daughter. And the worst part? I didn't even know where she was anymore. The next day I drove past her apartment again. Her car was gone. Not parked somewhere else. Gone. There was a "for rent" sign in her window. She had moved. I want you to imagine that feeling for a moment. Your child, the person you raised, the person you protected, the person you would die for, has erased you from their life. Changed their number. Moved away. Left no forwarding address. No goodbye. No explanation. Just gone. If you've ever felt that kind of loss, type "I felt that" in the comments. Because I need to know I'm not alone. I need to know other people have survived this kind of pain. I spent Thanksgiving alone that year. I didn't cook. I didn't watch movies. I sat in my kitchen with a sandwich I couldn't eat and I stared at the chair where my daughter used to sit. And I wondered if I would ever see her again. After Thanksgiving, something shifted in me. The sadness started to turn into something else. Determination. I wasn't going to just sit here and accept that my daughter was gone. I was going to find her. I was going to make sure she was okay. And if she still wanted nothing to do with me after that, well, at least I would know she was safe. I started with what I knew. Her name. Her birthday. Her social security number. The law school she had been accepted to. I called the law school first. "I'm sorry, sir," the administrator said. "That student deferred her enrollment." Deferred? For how long? 1 year. Did she say why? "I'm sorry, I can't share that information. Privacy regulations." 1 year. She had put her dream on hold. For what? For him? I hired a private investigator. A guy named Frank. He was 63 years old, former police detective, and he had a face like he had seen everything and was surprised by nothing. I told him everything. About my daughter. About Victor. About the fight. About the silence. Frank listened without interrupting. When I was done, he nodded slowly. "I'll find her," he said. "But mister, let me ask you something first. What are you going to do when I do?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, let's say I find her. Let's say she's living in some fancy house with this Victor guy. Let's say she looks happy. What then?" I didn't have an answer. "Because here's the thing," Frank continued. "In my experience, when grown children cut off their parents, there's usually a reason. Sometimes it's a bad reason, they fell in with the wrong crowd, got manipulated, got controlled. But sometimes..." He paused. "Sometimes the parent is the problem." I felt anger flare in my chest. "I'm not the problem," I said. "I was trying to protect her." "I believe you," Frank said. "But she might not see it that way. So I'm going to ask you again. What are you going to do when I find her?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "I just want to know she's safe," I finally said. "That's all. If she's safe and happy, I'll leave her alone. I'll respect her wishes. But I need to know." Frank nodded. "Fair enough," he said. "I'll be in touch." 3 weeks later, Frank called. I found her. My heart stopped. Where? She's living in a house in the hills. Nice neighborhood. Expensive. The house is owned by a man named Victor Ashworth. Age 52. Made his money in real estate development. Real estate. So he was rich. Of course he was. What else? I asked. She's not working. At least not that I can tell. She doesn't leave the house much. When she does, it's usually with him. They go to restaurants, events, charity functions. She's always dressed up. Always looks nice. Nice. I repeated. What does nice mean? There was a pause. It means she looks like she's living well, mister. Expensive clothes. Jewelry. She drives a new car. Looks like he bought it for her. On the surface, everything looks fine. On the surface? Another pause. There's something else. Something that bothered me. What? I've been watching them for 2 weeks now. Every time they're out together, he has his hand on her. Her arm. Her back. Her shoulder. Always touching. And she what? She flinches. Not every time. Just sometimes. Small flinches, like she's not sure if the touch is going to be gentle or not. I felt cold. Ice cold. What are you saying? I'm not saying anything, Frank said carefully. I'm telling you what I observed. Could mean nothing. Could mean something. But I thought you should know. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, imagining my daughter flinching. Flinching from this man's touch. Flinching like she was afraid. And I thought about all the things I had said during our fight. That's manipulation. That's control. Had I been right? Was my daughter in danger? Or was I just seeing what I wanted to see, what I needed to see, to justify my own behavior? I didn't know. But I had to find out. Frank called me again the following week. There's a charity event this Saturday. Black tie. Victor and your daughter are both on the guest list. If you want to see her in person, this is your chance. How do I get in? You don't. It's invitation only. But I know someone who works catering. I can get you a service uniform. You'd be invisible. These rich types don't look at the help. That's illegal, isn't it? Frank laughed. You want to see your daughter or not? Saturday night, I put on a white jacket and black pants and pretended to be a waiter at a charity gala for children's cancer research. The irony wasn't lost on me. My wife had died of cancer. And now I was sneaking into a cancer charity event to spy on my daughter. Life has a cruel sense of humor sometimes. The ballroom was enormous. Crystal chandeliers. Champagne fountains. People in gowns and tuxedos worth more than my car. I walked through the crowd carrying a tray of hors d'oeuvres looking for her. And then I saw her. She was standing near the window holding a champagne glass, wearing a red dress that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. She looked beautiful. She looked like a stranger. Beside her was a man. Victor. He was tall, taller than I expected. Gray hair neatly styled. A strong jaw. The kind of face that probably made women swoon when he was younger. Maybe it still did. His hand was on my daughter's back. And as I watched, I saw exactly what Frank had described. My daughter shifted slightly. A tiny flinch. A small adjustment away from his touch. And Victor noticed. His hand tightened. Just for a moment. Just enough to pull her back to where he wanted her. And my daughter's face. Her face didn't change. Her smile stayed in place. But her eyes, her mother's eyes, went dead. Like she had gone somewhere far away inside her head. Somewhere she couldn't be hurt. Friend, I need to stop here. Because what I'm about to describe next is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I was standing 20 feet from my daughter. The daughter I hadn't seen in months. The daughter who had erased me from her life. And I could see that something was wrong. But I couldn't prove it. I couldn't help her. I couldn't even talk to her. Because she had told me to stay away. And if I approached her now, here at this event, I would be causing a scene. I would be embarrassing her. I would be proving to Victor that I was exactly what he probably told her I was. A controlling, interfering father who couldn't let his adult daughter live her own life. So what do I do? What would you do? Tell me in the comments. Because I'm about to make a decision that will haunt me for the next 6 months. I left. I put down my tray. I walked out of that ballroom. And I went home. I told myself it was the right thing to do. I told myself I was respecting her boundaries. I told myself I would wait. I would watch. I would be ready. If she ever needed me, if she ever called, I would be there. But I wouldn't force myself back into her life. I wouldn't be the villain Victor had probably already painted me as. I would wait. And I would pray. December. January. February. March. April. May. The months crept by like wounded animals. I kept in touch with Frank. He checked on my daughter every few weeks. His reports were always the same. She's still there. Still living in the house. Still going to events with him. No sign of trouble. But I knew what I had seen. That flinch. Those empty eyes. Something was wrong. Something was very, very wrong. But my daughter was an adult. A legal adult who had made her choice. And unless she asked for help, there was nothing I could do. In June I got a call from my doctor. Routine checkup had found something. Nothing serious, he assured me. But they wanted to do more tests. Just to be safe. I spent a week going to appointments, getting blood drawn, lying in machines that made whirring sounds. And I thought about my wife. About how she had gone to the doctor for a routine checkup. About how nothing serious had become stage 4. About how quickly everything could change. I didn't want to die without seeing my daughter again. I didn't want my last words to her to be, "Don't bother coming back." But I didn't know how to reach her. The tests came back clear. I was fine. Just getting older. Just feeling my own mortality more acutely than I ever had before. I thanked God. And I made a decision. I asked Frank to deliver a letter. I didn't try to call. I didn't try to show up at her door. I just wrote a letter. "My dearest girl. I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I said things that hurt you. I know I made you feel like I didn't trust you or respect you. I was wrong. You are an adult. You get to make your own choices. You get to love who you want to love. And I should have said this from the beginning. I trust you. I trust you to know what's best for your life. I trust you to make wise decisions. I trust you to ask for help if you ever need it. I'm not writing this letter to change your mind about Victor. I'm not writing this letter to ask you to come home. I'm writing this letter to tell you that I love you. No matter what. Forever. And if you ever need me for anything at any time, day or night, I will be there. No questions. No judgment. His love. Your father." Frank delivered the letter to her mailbox. I waited. Days. Weeks. No response. September came again. The leaves started to turn. A full year had passed since that Sunday dinner. A full year since "Stop interfering in my life." A full year since I had lost my daughter. I was sitting at my kitchen table, the same table where everything had fallen apart, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Something made me pick it up. Hello. Silence. Then breathing. Shaky breathing. Dad. My heart stopped. It was her. "I'm here," I said. "I'm here, sweetheart." More breathing. And then I heard something that broke me. He was crying. Not soft crying. Not gentle crying. The kind of crying that comes from the deepest part of your soul. The kind of crying that sounds like a wounded animal. "Daddy, I made a mistake." Those 4 words. 4 words that changed everything. "Daddy, I made a mistake." Friend, I need you to stay with me. That's what happened next. What happened over the following 12 hours. It's the most important part of this story. If you've ever loved someone who pushed you away. If you've ever waited for a phone call that never came. If you've ever prayed for a second chance. Hit that subscribe button right now. And stay with me until the end. Because this story is about to take a turn that you will not see coming. "Where are you?" I asked. "I'm at a gas station," she said. I don't know where. Somewhere on the highway. I just drove. I just got in my car and drove." "Are you safe?" "I don't know. Think so. I don't know if he's following me." Victor. "Tell me what happened." I can't tell you over the phone. Can I come home, Dad? Can I please come home?" "Yes," I said without hesitation. "Yes, sweetheart. Come home. Come home right now." Hey, I'm coming. "Dad." "Yes. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." "Don't be sorry," I said. "Just drive safe. Just come home." The line went dead. I stood in my kitchen for a full minute after she hung up, just staring at the phone in my hand. She was coming home. My daughter was coming home. But something was wrong. Very wrong. Her voice on the phone. The fear in it, the desperation. It was the voice of someone running from something. Or someone. Called Frank. She just called me, I said. She's on her way home. She sounded scared. She mentioned someone might be following her. Victor. She didn't say his name, but who else would it be? I'll head to her last known location, Frank said. The house in the hills. See if I can figure out what's happening. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, he said. Just focus on your daughter. I'll handle the rest. I don't know how long I waited. An hour. Maybe 2. Felt like a lifetime. I stood by my front window watching the street, watching for her car. Every set of headlights made my heart race. And then, finally, just after midnight, a car pulled into my driveway. Her car. I was out the front door before she even turned off the engine. She got out of the car and I saw her clearly for the first time in a year. And my blood turned to ice. She was thin. Too thin. The dress she was wearing, fancy, expensive, hung off her like she was playing dress up in someone else's clothes. Her hair was disheveled. Her makeup was smeared. And on her left cheek, barely visible under what was left of her foundation, a bruise. Purple and yellow and ugly. Fresh. My daughter had a bruise on her face. Daddy. She said it like a little girl. Not like a 24-year-old woman who had told me she was an adult. Like a little girl who was scared and hurt and didn't know what to do. I opened my arms. She collapsed into them. And we stood there in my driveway in the middle of the night holding each other and crying. I brought her inside. Made her tea. Sat her down on the couch. The same couch where she used to do her homework when she was 12. And I waited. She didn't talk at first. She just held the teacup in both hands, staring at nothing. You don't have to tell me everything, I said. Not right now. Not if you're not ready. I want to, she said. I need to. She took a shaky breath. I don't know where to start. Start wherever feels right. Another shaky breath. And then she began. It wasn't bad at first. She stared into her tea as she spoke like she couldn't bear to look at me. When I met Victor, he was everything I thought I wanted. He was confident, successful. He treated me like I was special. Like I was the only person in the room every time we were together. Where did you meet him? At the library, where I worked. He came in looking for books on architecture. I helped him find them. He asked me to coffee. And you said yes. I said yes. She laughed. A bitter, hollow sound. I should have said no. Every instinct in my body was screaming at me to say no. But I didn't listen. Why not? She finally looked up at me. Because I was lonely, Dad. I was so lonely. You don't understand. After Mom died, I felt like I lost both my parents. You were there, but you weren't there. You were so wrapped up in your own grief that you couldn't see mine. That hit me like a physical blow. I'm sorry, I whispered. I didn't know. I know you didn't. I didn't tell you. I was too busy pretending to be okay, pretending to be strong, pretending I didn't need anyone. She wiped at her eyes. And then Victor showed up. And he made me feel like I mattered. Like someone was finally paying attention to me. So you kept seeing him. Yes. At first it was perfect. He was attentive. Generous. He bought me things. Nice things, and took me to nice places. I felt like a princess in a fairy tale. What changed? Her hands tightened around the teacup. He did. Fully. So slowly I didn't even notice at first. Little comments about my clothes. You'd look better in something more sophisticated. Little suggestions about my friends. They're not really at your level, are they? Little rules that seemed reasonable at the time. Let's just keep our relationship private for now. I don't want to deal with gossip. He was isolating you. Yes. But I didn't see it. I just saw a man who wanted to take care of me. Who wanted me all to himself. I thought it was romantic. When did it stop being romantic? She went quiet. When she spoke again, her voice was barely above a whisper. The first time he hit me was in November. About 2 months after our fight. I'm going to pause here. Because I need you to understand what those words did to me. The first time he hit me. The first time. Which meant there was a second time. And a third. And more. And I wasn't there to protect her. I wasn't there because she had pushed me away. Because I had let her. If you're a parent watching this right now, if you have a child who has cut you out of their life, I need you to hear me. Don't give up on them. Even when it hurts. Even when they tell you to go away. Don't give up. Because you might be the only lifeline they have left. Type, "Don't give up" in the comments. I need to see that. We all need to see that. I'm going to tell my story, my daughter said. Publicly. Just like his ex-wife did. I'm going to make sure everyone knows what he really is. That's dangerous, I said. I know. He'll come after you. Lawyers. Lawsuits. Maybe worse. I know. Are you sure you want to do this? She looked at me with her mother's eyes. Mom always said that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's being afraid and doing the right thing anyway. I felt tears prick at my eyes. She did say that. Then I'm going to be brave, my daughter said. For the first time in a year I'm going to be brave. The next morning we drove to the courthouse. My daughter was exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes. Hands shaking from adrenaline and fear and lack of sleep. But she walked into that building with her head held high. The process took hours. Paperwork. Statements. A judge who looked at the photos and the texts and the documentation, and whose face grew darker with every page he turned. This is compelling evidence, he said. I'm granting a temporary restraining order effective immediately. Mr. Ashworth will be served within 24 hours. A hearing for a permanent order will be scheduled within 2 weeks. What happens until then? I asked. He's required to stay at least 500 feet away from your daughter. No contact of any kind. If he violates the order, he'll be arrested. And if he doesn't care about being arrested? The judge looked at me with understanding. Then you call 911. And you protect yourselves by any legal means necessary. The next 24 hours were the longest of my life. My daughter and I stayed home. Doors locked. Curtains closed. Frank parked down the street watching. I had dug out my old baseball bat from the garage. It wasn't much. But it was something. Every sound made us jump. Every car that drove past made our hearts race. We were living in a state of constant fear. And I hated it. I hated that this man, this predator, had so much power over us. But I also knew that this was temporary. This was the hard part. The dark before the dawn. We just had to get through it. That evening my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered it. Is this the father? A man's voice. Controlled. My blood ran cold. Who is this? I think you know who this is. I think your daughter has told you all sorts of stories about me. I'm calling to set the record straight. Victor. Friend, I need you to understand something. In that moment, every fiber of my being wanted to scream at this man. To curse at him. To tell him exactly what I thought of him and what I would do if he ever came near my daughter again. But I didn't. Because I knew the call was probably being recorded. Because I knew Victor was trying to provoke me. Because I knew that if I lost my temper he could use it against me. So I took a breath. And I stayed calm. Mr. Ashworth, I said, you're not supposed to contact my daughter. There's a restraining order. The restraining order is against contact with her, not you. I'm calling to talk to you. Father to father. You're not a father. You're a monster. Silence on the other end. Then a laugh. Low and cold. Is that what she told you? That I'm a monster? He chuckled. Your daughter is mentally unstable. She has been since the day I met her. I tried to help her. I paid for therapists, I bought her nice things, I gave her a beautiful life. And this is how she repays me? With lies and false accusations. I've seen the bruises. Self-inflicted. She's done this before. She hurts herself to get attention. I've seen the texts. Taken out of context. I was trying to help her. She was spiraling and I was trying to keep her safe. Your ex-wife tells a different story. Another silence. Longer this time. My ex-wife, Victor said, his voice dropping lower, is a vindictive woman who has been trying to destroy me for 20 years. I would be careful about believing anything she says. I believe my daughter. Then you're a fool. And when this all falls apart, when your daughter's lies are exposed, I will sue you both into oblivion. I will take everything you have. And I will make sure everyone knows that you raised a liar and a manipulator. Are you done? I'm just getting started. Then let me be clear, I said. If you come near my daughter again, if you call, if you text, if you drive past this house, I will do everything in my power to destroy you. And unlike you, I don't make threats. I make promises. I hung up. My daughter was standing in the doorway. She had heard everything. He called you. Yes. What did he say? Nothing that matters. She walked over to me and wrapped her arms around me. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm so sorry I brought this into your life. You didn't bring anything into my life. He did. And we're going to stop him. How? By doing exactly what we planned. By telling the truth. By exposing him for what he is. Men like Victor, they survive by hiding in the shadows. They thrive on secrecy and shame. But when you shine a light on them, they burn. They burn. 2 days later, my daughter sat down in front of a camera. We had set up a simple recording studio in my living room. Just a good camera, good lighting, and a microphone. She was going to record her story and post it online. No fancy production. No scripts. Just the truth. Are you ready? I asked. No, she said. But I'm doing it anyway. She pressed record. My name is not important. What's important is my story. A little over a year ago I met a man. He was older. Successful. Charming. He made me feel special in ways I had never felt before. What I didn't know was that I was being hunted. Over the following year, this man isolated me from everyone who loved me. He convinced me that my family didn't understand me. That my friends were beneath me. That he was the only person I could trust. And then once I was completely alone, he started to hurt me. At first it was words. Criticism. Humiliation. Small comments designed to make me feel worthless. Then it was control. Telling me what to wear. Who to see. When to speak. And finally it was violence. I'm not going to show you the photos of my bruises, although I have them. I'm not going to read you the texts where he threatened me, although I saved them all. I'm just going to tell you the truth. This man is a predator. He finds young women. He grooms them. He controls them. And when they try to leave, he destroys them. I almost didn't leave. I almost stayed forever. I almost became another statistic. But someone reminded me that I was loved. Someone sent me a letter, just a simple letter, that said, I trust you. I'm here for you. No questions. No judgment. Just love. And that letter saved my life. If you're watching this and you're in a relationship like mine was, if you're being hurt by someone who claims to love you, please hear me. You are not alone. You are not weak. You are not broken. And there is someone somewhere who will help you if you ask. Please. Before it's too late. She stopped the recording. Tears were streaming down her face. But she was smiling. How was that? Perfect, I said. Absolutely perfect. The video went viral. Within 48 hours, it had been viewed over 2 million times. The comment section was flooded with support. Women sharing their own stories. Men saying they had no idea this kind of thing happened. Journalists reaching out for interviews. Then, other victims started coming forward. Women who had dated Victor. Women who had worked for him. Women who had been afraid to speak until now. One by one they added their voices to my daughters. And Victor's carefully constructed world began to crumble. His business partners started pulling out. Investors demanded their money back. His real estate projects ground to a halt. And then the police got involved. Multiple women were now pressing charges. Not just my daughter. A whole chorus of survivors finally being heard. Victor was arrested on a Tuesday morning. I watched it on the news, watched them lead him out of his house in handcuffs, watched his face go pale as the cameras swarmed. He didn't look powerful anymore. He just looked small. Pathetic. Afraid. The trial took 6 months. Victor hired the best lawyers money could buy. They attacked the victim's credibility. They twisted the facts. They tried every trick in the book. But the evidence was overwhelming. Texts. Photos. Testimony after testimony after testimony. My daughter testified on the 3rd day. She walked into that courtroom in a simple dress. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive, and she sat in the witness chair and she told her truth. I sat in the gallery. Watching. Praying. When the defense attorney tried to cross-examine her, tried to twist her words, tried to make her look like a liar, she held her ground. She was calm. Unshakable. And when she was done, she walked out of that courtroom with her head held high. Just like her mother would have. The verdict came on a Friday afternoon. Guilty. On all counts. Victor was sentenced to 15 years in prison. 15 years for the women he had hurt. 15 years for the lives he had destroyed. 15 years to think about what he had done. When the verdict was read, my daughter turned to look at me. Her eyes were wet, but she was smiling. And I knew in that moment that everything was going to be okay. After the trial, my daughter moved back in with me. Just for a little while, she said. Just until she got back on her feet. I didn't mind. After a year of silence, I would have let her stay forever. She enrolled back in law school. Started the program she had deferred. It was hard, she had missed a lot, had a lot of catching up to do, but she threw herself into it with a determination I had never seen before. Why law? I asked her one night. We were sitting on the back porch watching the sunset. Something we used to do when she was a kid. Because of the women who came forward, she said. The other survivors. Some of them didn't know their rights. Some of them had been fighting for years just to be heard. I want to help people like them. I want to make sure nobody has to fight alone. I felt tears prick at my eyes. Your mother would be so proud of you. She reached over and took my hand. I hope so. That Thanksgiving we started a new tradition. We didn't just cook dinner for the two of us. We opened our doors. My daughter invited some of the other survivors from the trial. Women who had become her friends, her sisters in a strange way. I invited Frank, who had become more than just a private investigator. He had become family. We set up a big table in the living room. Made more food than any of us could eat. Played old movies and told stories and laughed until our stomachs hurt. And at some point during the evening my daughter stood up. I want to make a toast, she said. Everyone went quiet. A year ago I thought my life was over. I thought I had lost everything that mattered. I thought I would never be happy again. She looked at me. But I was wrong. Because I hadn't lost everything. I still had my dad. Even when I pushed him away, even when I said terrible things, he never gave up on me. He waited. He watched. And when I finally called, he answered. She raised her glass. To second chances. To second chances, everyone echoed. I couldn't speak. I was crying too hard. A few weeks later I found something on my desk. A letter. Handwritten. From my daughter. Dad, I've been trying to find the words to say this for months, but every time I try to speak I choke up. So I'm writing it down instead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the things I said that night at dinner. I'm sorry for cutting you out of my life. I'm sorry for believing Victor's lies about you. I'm sorry for every day that you spent worried about me, wondering if I was okay. You were right about him. About everything. And I was too stubborn, too proud, too blind to see it. But here's what I've learned. Being wrong isn't the worst thing. Staying wrong is. I was wrong, but I found my way back. I found my way back to you. And that's something I will never, ever take for granted again. You are the best father a girl could ask for. You have been since the day I was born. And I am so grateful, so incredibly grateful, that I get a second chance to be your daughter. I love you, Dad. Forever. Your girl. I sat in my office and cried for an hour. Good tears. Healing tears. The kind of tears you cry when something broken finally becomes whole again. 3 years later, I sat in an auditorium full of proud parents and watched my daughter walk across the stage. She was wearing a cap and gown. In her hand was a diploma. She had graduated law school. Top of her class. When her name was called, I stood up and cheered so loud that people around me started laughing. I didn't care. My daughter was a lawyer. My daughter was going to spend her life helping people. My daughter was okay. After the ceremony, she found me in the crowd. Well, she said, holding up her diploma. What do you think? I think your mother is looking down right now and she's so proud she can barely stand it. My daughter's eyes went wet. You think so? I know so. She hugged me tight. I couldn't have done this without you, Dad. Yes, you could have. You're stronger than you know. Maybe, she said. But I didn't have to find out. Because you were there. Now here we are. 1 year after my daughter's graduation. 4 years after the trial. 5 years after the night she called me from a gas station, scared and alone. She has her own practice now. Small but growing. She specializes in helping survivors of domestic abuse navigate the legal system. She's saved more people than she'll ever know. And every Sunday, every single Sunday without fail, she comes over for dinner. We sit at the same kitchen table where everything fell apart. We eat pot roast and potatoes and carrots. We talk about our weeks, our lives, our hopes, our fears. And sometimes when the light hits her face just right, I see my wife looking back at me. And I know that everything, all the pain, all the fear, all the lost years, was worth it. As we made it through. Together. Friend, I've been talking for a long time now. And I hope you've stayed with me until the end. Because here's what I need you to understand. If you're a parent whose child has pushed you away, if you're living in silence waiting for a phone call that hasn't come, if you're wondering if you'll ever see them again, don't give up. Write the letter. Make the call. Leave the door open. Because you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what battles they're fighting. You don't know how much they might need you, even if they're too proud or too scared or too stubborn to say it. My daughter told me to stop interfering in her life. She told me she was an adult. And she was right, she was an adult. But she was also my child. And she always will be. No matter how old she gets. No matter where life takes her. No matter what happens. She's my daughter. And I am her father. And nothing, not time, not distance, not silence will ever change that. If this story touched you, if it made you think about someone in your own life, I need you to do something for me. Share this video. Send it to someone who needs to hear it. A friend who's going through a hard time. A parent who's lost touch with their child. A child who's lost touch with their parent. Because stories like this, they don't just entertain. They heal. And right now there are millions of people out there who need healing. Let's reach them. Together. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And thank you for being part of this community. I'll see you in the next one. If this story moved you, hit subscribe and watch the next video appearing on your screen now. It's another powerful story that will stay with you forever.